Dear listeners, we talk about the post-Mauryan and the Gupta period art and architecture. Why I added the word architecture here? Because this is the period when we start talking about the construction of so many monuments in throughout the country, so many dynasties which existed in the almost 600-700 years, that is right from 2nd century BCE to the 6th century BCE, when we talk about the Gupta period. So, this journey basically different dynasties, different periods and throughout the country, because after Ashoka, like Ashoka established the empire. So, he had a huge area of the subcontinent which came under his regime. But later on the country was divided into different parts, were divided into and ruled over by different dynasties. Unless we come to the Gupta period, when again we have a larger sort of empire which was erected by Chandragupta Maurya and Samudragupta. So, when we talk about the Gupta period, post-Gupta Mauryan period and the Gupta period art, it is a long journey of almost 600-700-800 years when we start seeing how things evolved. So, in this basically when we talk about in the previous section of the Mauryan art, we talked about the Yakshini, and we saw that how the Didarganji Yakshini was an independent sculpture. Now we look at the relief which was carved out in the Bharhut, which is sort of the similar Yakshini, but in another composition kind of thing, and later on in the Sanchi we will see that how it again became so different. Also, as I talked about the symbolism which was actually during this period prevalent among the Buddhists, and they I mean symbolized the sermon of Buddha, the stupa as his these monuments. Then again when we talk about the different features of the relief carving which we see, look at it in the Bharhut. Bharhut is again in Madhya Pradesh, and there we have this stupa which existed, and in there are it is not in a very good piece now, and all in the museum, different museums in India and Britain have the relics of these Bharhut stup through which we know about it. Here you saw that this is the Sanchi structure of the Sanchi stup, but before this stup there were different things which happened in different form, and the stupas were made basically in the form of the relief in different parts of the country. So, you will find that today the present day Sanchi stup is seen in this condition, and this is the sort of a very this is a World Heritage Site also declared by UNESCO. You all know what is a World Heritage Site, I hope, otherwise you can find it out from the UNESCO website. So, this stupa is basically the total structure of stup which we have sort of, this is the epitome of the stup architecture which happened during that time. And if you look at the details, how stylized they become, like the refinement which we look at in the carvers, the people who have carved these, the craftsperson or the artisans or the monks, whoever have done this under different patronage also. So, this is how they have been shown here. And then when we move to from central India to different parts of India, from North India to West India, and even beyond the present day India, because we also have the dynasties like the Kushana dynasty which was in the northwestern India part, Kashmir, and up to the Gandhar. Kanishka ruled in a very large section of the subcontinent, and he also was a follower of Buddha, and his many of his people were following Buddhism at that time, and they spread it up to Bamiyan also, where we find that by the time we come before the Gupta period, we have so many dynasties ruling everywhere in the country. And this is we start looking at the independent sculptures of Buddha, and this is also a time later on we will talk about in detail. We will see how Jataka tales became, the Jatak stories became prevalent in the Buddhist monuments. Like in Ajanta and Ellora and Bagh and different, and what are Jatak Kathas? Basically, we believe, the Buddhism believed that before becoming a human being, the taking the birth of Buddha as Siddharth in his human life, he had undergone different lives where he was born in different forms, and all those during all these lives of his previous lives, Buddha had done some good deed, and that is called the sort of Jatak stories. So, Jatak stories, you will find that they were also carved in the relief and painted, but the independent sculptures became an identity, and we have, when we talk about this Buddhist sculpture of this period around 1st century CE to 3rd and 4th century CE, the Christian era, we have the major centers in the North India is Sarnath, Gandhar and Mathura, which is also known as these 3 schools of sculptures. And then we have the sculptures of Amravati. I am taking you to different parts of the country. You can look at some historical map in detail and find out. And Amravati is present day, it is in Andhra Pradesh, what we talk about. So, these are the places where Buddhism spread over, and this is the early phase of stupa. Amravati stupa, nothing exists there as to date, because it was all destroyed over a period of time, but we have different parts of the wall and different sculptures of Amravati which are there. So, Nagarjuna Konda again in south. So, you can see how from northernmost northwest India to southernmost of the country, the subcontinent of India, and even Sri Lanka also, which we are not covering here, but we all know that Buddhism had spread to other countries by this time, in the southeastern countries as well. So, but we are majorly focusing on the Indian subcontinent and the Indian state. So, Nagarjuna Konda, again we have this panel from one of its stupas which was built during this period before the Gupta period, and there are very good kind of work, the relief work which we can see, the craftsmanship. Then we come to the Western India. You all know that in Western India and especially the Deccan area, there are lots of ranges, mountain ranges which are existing, and in these mountains, which is the Deccani part, that they are not very high, and these were the centers in throughout Maharashtra, present day Maharashtra. We find such caves which existed, whether it was the caves of Ajanta, which is later on, but Kandheri and then Karla, Bhaja, all these caves you will find that they were either Chaitya or Vihar. As we talked about during the Mauryan period, that what was Chaitya? Chaitya were the prayer halls. So, these were huge halls where the Buddhist monks used to sit and pray and meditate for long hours, and then they used to go and reside in the Vihar. Vihar means where they lived. Like this is how it looked. There used to be cave, but later on the pillared entrance was added to it. So, this is how things evolved, this is how things developed in the architecture, in art. So, in the these halls you will find that there are the detailed pillars and there is a facade which is made. We had seen it in the Lomash Rishi cave during the Mauryan period, which is in the Barabar hill near Gaya. The entrance was carved, there was no gallery to enter the caves, but now we started looking at it that these Chaitya halls or the Vihara caves in Nasik or Bhaja, they started having a kind of an entrance to it. There was a gallery and then there was an entrance, and the entrance itself was made in such a way that you can make out whether it is a Vihar or a Chaitya, because the Chaityas will have some kind of a stupa relief or something which made it different, whereas the Vihars had the simple pillared structure, and then inside there were caves where these monks used to stay. And this is all today for thank you.